Let's talk about life. It's hectic, it's uncertain. We're living in a time of political polarization and extremism, a global mental health crisis, and the rise of artificial intelligence. More and more people feel helpless, a tiny cog trapped in a massive machine, unhappy, unhealthy, unfulfilled, but with no way to escape. You follow a path your whole life, expecting it to lead you somewhere, and then one day you're just spit out, and you look around and realize that you're lost. You're drifting in the chaos of the modern world. Your relationships, your happiness, your bank account, everything seems a little bit emptier than you expected it would be when you were younger. Now I'm gonna tell you something that you probably don't want to hear. The problem is not the world, it's not the AI, and it's not the politics. The problem is who you think you are. I learned this like most people do, the hard way. I was going through life doing my best. I tried to be easy to get along with. I always got good grades. I always did what I was supposed to do. And yet, as I got older and older, I started to feel lost and aimless. Life felt so overwhelming and impossible, and I looked for the path of least resistance. I found myself working a mediocre job, making mediocre pay. And I blamed the world. I blamed my circumstances. There's no way I could succeed. I was homeschooled. I didn't have any friends. I didn't have any connections. I had no self-confidence. It wasn't my fault. It was just the hand I was dealt. But as we all know, it is a poor craftsman who blames their tools. And as hectic and chaotic as our world can be, that's what we have to work with in order to build our lives. I was collecting excuses instead of experiences. I blamed my tools. Well, that guy got a chainsaw and all I got was a butter knife. Most people are just like I was, uncertain, unhappy, unfulfilled, but not sure what to do about it. We did what we were supposed to in life. We played along, we followed the rules, we showed up on time, and yet it didn't seem to work. Maybe we've gained a few pounds, we're behind on some payments, our relationships aren't what we'd expected they'd be like. Extrapolate that trend out another 10 or 20 years. We've all heard that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And yet, what do most people do in their lives? Even if things aren't going well, we do the same things year after year, hoping that somehow they'll change. If things have only stayed the same or gotten worse so far, why would they randomly get better? And deep down, most of us know that, but we're paralyzed because we don't know what to do. We've followed the path and gotten nowhere. So we distract ourselves with alcohol or drugs. We bury our heads in the sand, cross our fingers and say, hopefully things change, hopefully it gets easier. But here's the thing, life's not going to get easier, but we can get better. The problem is who we think we are and how we think we have to be. Remember where I was earlier? Mediocre job, mediocre paycheck, mediocre self-concept. I was a cog that only seemed to fit into a few specific places in this giant machine. They were not places that I liked very much, but that's just where I seemed to fit. And it never occurred to me at the time that by transforming myself, I could change where I would fit in life. Many of us, even if we know we should change or we want to, we have no idea where to start. It feels so overwhelming and confusing. What are we even supposed to do? And this was me, more focused on excuses than opportunities. Most people would rather be right that it is impossible for them to change. Why? That's all they've got. If they don't have money or health or good relationships or purpose in life, then that sense of righteous misery is all they have. The reasoning and the rationalization that they are right to be where they are is the only thing they can cling to explain their unhappy existence. Most of us have long lists of reasons why we know we can't do certain things. We know we're not that kind of person. But what the hell do we know? What I knew when I was miserable had gotten me to where I was. Miserable. Remember that definition of insanity? If you're going off of what you know and you are unhappy, maybe what you know is wrong. We tend to look out at the world and see our limitations, and so anything that doesn't fit us exactly as we are right now feels pretty much impossible. But consider for a moment that you began your life as a single cell. That single cell transformed itself into you, a sentient being who can talk and walk and love and contemplate the mysteries of the universe and the meaning of life. And yet we think that it is too hard for us to transform ourselves to have better relationships or better health or more happiness or a higher income. We are 99.9% of the way there, and yet so many of us are willing to give up all of our power because we don't think we can do it. We don't think we're ready. We don't think we're good enough. We don't think we deserve it. We think we are too young or too old or too thin or too fat or too something or not enough of something else. Imagine that single cell. Imagine all of the growth and transformation and energy necessary to become you. Each of us has come so far, and yet we let our minds trick us into thinking that, well, that's it. I made it all of the way here, but that little bit of shift, can't do that. My giant list of reasons that my life sucked was a nice rationalization, but I was still miserable. Don't wait 10, 20 years for things to get really bad before you change. When people hit rock bottom is because they've been steadily declining without doing anything about it. But you can do stuff about it. You can improve and transform yourself. You can be a better partner, a better friend, a better son or daughter, or a better parent, and watch the world around you transform. You'll start to see more opportunities and more reasons to be grateful, and you'll start to see possibilities where before you saw limitation. And I know that voice in your head will say, yeah, but my situation's different. It's more complicated for me. That's great for other people, but I can't do it. This is what I want you to do. Set a timer for 2 minutes. If you have any medical conditions, talk to your doctor about this. I'm not a healthcare professional, so just disclaimer. Get in the shower, turn the water all the way to cold, and take a 2-minute cold shower. You won't want to. You'll notice your mind saying, that seems kind of uncomfortable and unnecessary and pointless, and I don't want to do that. Now, I want you to ask yourself, what does your mind say when you consider making positive changes in your life or trying something new that would have a really good impact on you? It usually says, it's pointless, it won't work, it sounds kind of uncomfortable and unpleasant, why would we do that when we could do something else instead? The mind says the exact same thing about the cold shower. And once you do it, it's really not that bad. It's a little cold, you might shiver, but you come out the other end feeling energized, and that's how it is in life when we make these changes. They are uncomfortable, but we come out the other end feeling empowered. So take the shower and prove to yourself that that voice is an illusion. You can change. You can take the steps to transform yourself into a better version of yourself. And in doing so, your entire life will change for the better. I'm not saying it'll be easy, I'm not saying there won't be challenges, setbacks, and I'm not saying that from time to time life won't kick us to the ground, because it will. But I am saying we are capable of overcoming those moments and those challenges, and I am saying you are far greater than you believe you are, and capable of becoming greater still. Each of us has a choice. We can choose to sit back and collect excuses, looking for reasons that it's right we are where we are in life, that we can't get ahead, that we shouldn't try, reasons why it'll never work. Or we can focus on the one thing that we can control. Us. We can choose to look at our lives as an opportunity to transform ourselves into the best thing we can be, to grow and learn and improve and experience the full breadth of life instead of settling for who we think we have to be. We can slowly and methodically improve our skills and our health and our relationships and our bank accounts, rather than being another smug pessimist who tries to pretend that their learned helplessness is a virtue. Unlearn your helplessness. Embrace being wrong about your limits. Unlearn who you think you have to be and find out who you could be. Gandhi said we must be the change we wish to see in the world. Be the change you wish to see in your own life, and I promise you, you will never look back. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.